Hello friends, welcome to my kitchen. We're gonna do a full-on kitchen tour today. I'm also testing out a new mic, so hopefully this works out. I'm excited. I'm gonna walk you through some of the custom woodworking that we did to elevate the space. I'll share my favorite appliances, show you my coffee matcha corner, and just talk about some of the decor and the choices that we made to bring the space to life. I'll also be sure to link as much as I can in the description below. So without further ado, let's do this. First, we'll start with the island. I really love our island. It fits 4 people comfortably. Our bar stools are from Article. I really love these bar stools, highly recommend them. I will say they're extremely light. That's not a good or bad thing. It always surprises people how light it is when they pull it out from under, so just FYI. But it really matches the wood on our island almost perfectly, and that was not even planned. I already had purchased these bar stools before I knew what was happening. But anyways, when we first moved into the house, the island was white drywall. We knew that we wanted to add wood at some point just to help add some depth to the kitchen, ground the space a little bit more, because a lot of the things that we have are very white and bright. We ended up finding a woodworker here in Austin, and we picked out this white oak, and it ended up being so beautiful. The before and after of this kitchen, it feels so much different to me. It really feels like it brought the space to life and helped us add more personality to like a builder grade home. He came over, took some measurements, made some cuts, and then the actual install took about 1 day, and then he came back to add some trim later on. But if any of you have drywall under your island and you're looking for a way to elevate your space, this might be an option for you. I found it to be pretty affordable, and it really made a difference in the vibe of the kitchen. Like, I remember just walking out of my bedroom in the morning and seeing the island, and it just makes me feel so happy. I love it. Okay, moving on. So that's under the island. Our actual countertops are quartz. It's like a marbly looking quartz, and I'd say it's pretty durable. We had quartz at our other house, and anytime we spilled or had like a stain, red wine, turmeric, whatever it is, I can usually get it off with baking soda or vinegar or a Mr. Magic eraser. Our pendant lights are from Rejuvenation. I was not sure if I wanted to do black. For me, black accents wasn't something that I was comfortable with before, because I used to do a lot of white, gold, keep it light and bright, but I really wanted depth. And it all centered around this Korean cabinet that was passed down from my 할머니, my grandmother, to my mom, and she passed it on to me. So when I knew I was gonna have this Korean cabinet, I wanted to design the whole kitchen around it because it's a very special piece. So that's why we went with the black pendant lights. These are from Rejuvenation, and I'm so grateful I was able to work with Rejuvenation on a lot of these pieces, so I'll be sure to point that out. When we first ordered these pendant lights, I ordered the wrong size. Like, they were humongous. Like, I want to say it was like this wide. I don't even know who has an island that large to be able to fit such a ginormous pendant, but I felt so bad because they're custom made. But yeah, this is why you can't leave me in charge of measuring anything. I'll have to tell you one of my most embarrassing stories from when I used to work in tech, and I had to order bubble wrap for the office. Well, I'll tell you now. I had to order bubble wrap for the office, and I thought it was in inches, but it was in feet. And I was wondering why it was so expensive. My boss approved the invoice before I paid for it. And all of a sudden, a few days later, this person comes up on the freight elevator with this giant thing of bubble wrap. Like, it was taller than me. It was like 3 of me wide. I was so embarrassed. People were like, who ordered this? And I had ordered bubble wrap so we could wrap mugs that we were sending for the holidays. Anyways, and I've never learned from that experience, clearly. All right, moving on to our fridge. We got a built-in fridge, and I've had a lot of questions about it, so I'm excited to break it down and give you all the deets. For a built-in fridge, you have to order a panel-ready fridge. So the brand that we got is Fisher and Paykel. Initially, we were just gonna do a normal stainless steel cafe appliance fridge. It had been ordered months in advance. We knew it was coming, but I started thinking about it a lot more deeply, and I really wanted the fridge to flow with the rest of the kitchen. I felt like this is the house that we can finally do that in. We have the budget for it. Everything is kind of falling into place. So why don't I just take some time and research how the heck to do a built-in fridge? I think that's what had scared me in the past, that I just didn't know what went into creating a built-in fridge, and it ended up being pretty smooth for us. Essentially, we would order a fridge from Fisher and Paykel. It is a fridge that has no doors, no handles. It looks like an unfinished fridge. And essentially you would then hire someone, preferably someone who has installed fridge doors before, and they take measurements. Fisher and Paykel has the manual with all the instructions on, how much margin to leave, and I couldn't really talk too much about it because it's very much over my head, but the woodworker that we hired for the island had just previously installed doors for the same fridge at another person's house, so it felt really perfect, like the stars were aligning. We popped off one of these doors so he could go get the paint matched to it, and he built it and put it on. All of our hardware is from Rejuvenation, so these are fridge handles specifically. Rejuvenation has a lot of different fridge pools, and this is the one that matches the hardware that we have in our house. Now, I will tell you the pros and the cons. Pros, obviously, it looks beautiful. It functions like a normal fridge. I really love the way it looks, and overall, I love this fridge. This fridge is very minimal, and it seems like it's smaller than the other fridges that we've had, but the way it's laid out, it's a lot more efficient, so we actually can fit the same amount of food, if not more. I definitely recommend this fridge. We don't have a water filter built in on the fridge because we have filtered water through all the faucets in our house, so that helps reduce some of the space that we would need inside for a water filter. We do have an ice maker in here, so that is hooked up to water. The cons are that if you wear rings and you're opening the handle, you're hitting this and it's gonna get scuffed up. I kind of wish that I had realized that sooner so I could have opened it more carefully, and now I'm definitely more careful about it. Like, I use the tips of my fingers to open the doors, but definitely during the holidays when we had family and friends in town and everyone's just in and out of the fridge, it got really beat up, and considering it's only been less than a year, it's not looking too good. But I think what we're gonna do is just order another set of handles just so down the line we just have an extra pair in case, I don't know, this hardware gets discontinued or something. It's never a bad idea to have a couple extra, although it's not cheap. So we're just gonna deal with it. It's scuffed up, it is what it is. It's not easy to take this off because I'd have to take the whole door off to replace this, but I will get an extra set of pools just to have them, just in case. If you're thinking of getting a built-in fridge, those are my personal pros and cons. I think it is worth it in the end if you plan on being in the space for several years and it really makes you happy to feel like it's a continuous flow of cabinets versus giant fridge. But this was something on my dream kitchen list, and I'm really grateful that we were able to make it happen. This is my matcha and coffee corner. You've probably seen it before. I film a lot of content here of me making my morning beverage. This is my favorite spot of the house because this is where I do a lot of thinking. I'll be sitting here making my matcha, whisking my matcha. It's where I set my intention for the day. It's just a ritual for me to be able to slow down, make my drink. I know people say, oh, I could never go through all the steps of making the matcha or making the latte or whatever I'm making. But for me, this is like a meditation. It is a time for me to check in with myself and slow down and think about the kind of day that I want to have and set that intention. That is what this corner means to me. I am the only caffeine drinker in the house, so Andrew doesn't drink coffee. He is pure uncaffeinated energy. Love that for him. But me, I drink matcha in the morning typically, and then in the afternoon after lunch, I'll have coffee. I love coffee, I love matcha, I can't choose. Matcha is definitely how I like to start my day because it's a more calming energy rather than this like jolt of energy and a crash. So matcha helps me feel very calm and inspired and doesn't make me feel anxious. Talking about the appliances in our little coffee matcha corner, we'll start over here. This is a shelf from Yamazaki, and this is where I keep my matcha bowl. This is a handmade matcha bowl from my brand, The Homebodies. This is a tester version a while back. They're currently out of stock. When I make matcha, I use a whisk, and then we've got my sifter, my scooper, my collagen, and then I've got a little reminder for me to take my supplements because I am always on some sort of gut healing journey. This is a Korean tea infuser, Celadon, and I got this from Korea when I went there in 8th grade. So That's the matcha corner. Over here, we have my fellow kettle. This kettle has been wonderful. I've had it for many years. I love how minimal it is, and I can heat to 180 degrees for my matcha, 200 degrees for my coffee, like whatever I'm making. I can adjust to that. So kettles are clutch for me and my morning routine. This is my Breville coffee grinder. I always grind my beans fresh. I don't like to buy ground coffee. And then this is my Breville Bambino. I think it's called Breville Bambino 2. It is my espresso machine. Let's peek inside of my cabinet. These are all of my mugs. A girl can never have too many mugs. I'm a real sucker for going to a local shop and seeing a beautiful mug and being like, I must have this mug. But yeah, I'm trying to calm down with my mug collection because this is quite enough. How beautiful is this mug from Camille Styles? She has a new brand called Casa Zuma, and it's so beautiful. I love how wide it is. Perfect matcha sipping mug. These are some Homebodies mugs. These speckled mugs are from Fable. These are probably the ones I use the most frequently currently. This mug is from a ceramicist called Pepperstone Ceramics. She used to be called Terra Sol, but she's rebranded to Pepperstone, which is very fitting. I clearly love speckle. I have some coffee filters and beans and just all the other fixings. Whenever people come over, I really love making them a cozy drink, and I love playing barista. I have all different types of accessories. I've got an AeroPress, which is what I used to use to make my coffee. I have a pour over from Fable, lattes, tea. I make my own nut milk using my nutter machine. I think I've mentioned it before. It works very well for single serving, but if you're making a big batch, then I would recommend using a blender. Basically, this whole area is my stuff. Down here is where we keep appliances that we don't really use on a frequent basis. You know, like once in a blue moon, we'll use a toaster. I'm gluten-free. There's not a lot of bread that I can eat. Our Instant Pot, I honestly should just get rid of this thing because I don't think I ever truly understood how to use it. I know that's like blasphemy for some people. Our crock pot, we do use this maybe once a week, every other week, kind of depends on what recipe we're making. We've got a juicer machine that we haven't used in a while, and then Vitamix blender that I don't use anymore. I should probably get rid of that as well. I have a new blender now that I'm obsessed with. It works so much better. It's less clunky, so I will show you that in a bit. I'll just show you inside of our little coffee tea drawer because I'm always curious to see how other people keep their accessories. We have some filters, we have different attachments for my Breville espresso machine, scoopers, a scale. Yeah, this is kind of just what we keep that in. This is the blender that we use. It's called the Beast Blender, and I recommend this to anyone that's looking for a blender that works super well, but is very minimal, doesn't take up a lot of space. To me, this works better than the Vitamix. For some reason, the Vitamix is so loud, or at least the version that I have, it's so loud and chunky. This is so sleek, and it does what it needs to do. It makes my smoothies. So there's the blade in here. You can attach like a lid to this and a straw if you wanted to drink it right out of here, but a little bit wide to be just walking around carrying this around. And it just lives right in that little corner. It's perfect, I love it. The last bit of my coffee section, it kind of overflows into here because I have so much coffee stuff. This is our Ratio 6 coffee maker, and I specifically got this so that I could make more coffee for more people because everything that I had was very single serving, and if I had 3 people over, it would take me forever. I'm just like sitting here making drinks one by one, which is very time consuming. And so when we hosted our big family reunion for Christmas, I wanted to be able to make coffee for up to 6 to 8 cups, and that's what this does. I like it, it does the job. I had very specific criteria for this because I wanted to make sure that as many of the components were stainless steel or glass because I don't really like when hot water touches plastic. So this is what I found, and I'm really happy with that. I will say it's a little finicky. If I don't have this perfectly centered, it won't go, and that's kind of annoying. Sometimes I'm just sitting here going like this until it finally goes. It's like almost too smart. I think it goes with the kitchen and it works really well, meets my criteria. So win-win. The last small appliance that I want to talk about is this Arc. It's basically a soda stream, an Arc carbonator. It makes sparkling water. Definitely love this thing because we love sparkling water, especially in the summertime, and when friends come over, we can make them really fun drinks, add some like lemon, add hibiscus. I love like a sparkling hibiscus. We keep this stored under so we can save counter space, but I love this because there's no cord, there's just the carbonator in here, and that's it. So it fits perfectly in this little nook. I'm gonna just briefly chat through the pantry. I think you've seen our pantry before in previous videos, but our containers are also a mix of Container Store and Amazon, Container Store, and we keep our rice cooker in here. We keep our air fryer in here. It's a little bit stuffed. We've got a lot of snacks, taking a lot of supplements right now for my gut healing, so it's a little bit overcrowded, but I definitely recommend getting a turntable because it's very helpful when it comes to organizing. I feel like anyone who wants to find a way to reorganize their pantry or invite more organization into their pantry, the answer is always bins and containers. When you're able to group the like-minded things together, it just helps clear up the space, and it also helps you be able to see what you already have. I really like having this for our cans because then, I don't know, like growing up, we had so many cans of food just like throughout the whole pantry, and most of it ended up being expired. So for us, we have like a pretty small collection, and I'll go through maybe like once or twice a year and see what is older, and I'll move the older things to the front. So that just helps me make sure that I'm getting through the food and not wasting. So yeah, that's our pantry. If there's anything that I didn't answer and you have questions on, let me know, but I want to focus more on like the decor now. So as I mentioned, our hardware is from Rejuvenation, and we did a mix of pools and knobs, and I really love how that turned out. Besides from the hardware, our rug is from Rejuvenation. I think it's like a cotton jute mix, and I really love it because it ties into the black pendant lights and the black cabinet and our black chairs, which I'll show you in a bit. But it's held up very well, especially through the holidays, all the foot traffic that we had. I hope it continues to last because I really do love it. I wanted to show you inside some of our drawers to see how we organize things, because that's something that I'm always interested in seeing when I'm watching people's videos. Here we have our flatware. Our gold flatware is from Year and Day, and we've had this for, I wanna say 3 years now, maybe 4 years. And it's held up very well. So if you're looking for gold flatware, I definitely recommend Year and Day. These are just some Korean looking spoons from H Mart that my mom got me. This is where we keep our knives. It's definitely not ideal. I would love to invest in an actual like knife block, but I don't like having knives out on our counter. It's just a thing. So they're in here, but they all have like little covers. This is our utensil drawer. In this drawer, we have our stasher stash. So all of our little Ziploc baggies are here. Honestly, this is from when we moved, and I never took it out of this bag, but I don't really see the need to, but this is where we keep our lids for mason jars. Got some stretchy lids. In the bottom drawer, this is where we keep our glass lock containers, but they're mostly in our fridge or in our dishwasher right now, so it's not a really good representation. We keep the lids in this basket, and then we typically just stack them in this drawer. And here is where we keep our plates and bowls. So these are also from Year and Day. They've held up very well. There's a few scratches, but overall it's definitely held up better than our previous plates, which were from IKEA. So definitely love these. And got some bowls that my mom gave me for big brothy noodle dishes, obviously. I'm not gonna show you inside every single drawer, nook and cranny, because that would just take forever, but I'll show you the main ones that I'm sure you're probably interested in. So I highly recommend getting some sort of drawer divider. If you have a big drawer, there is so much potential for it to become either a really organized drawer or kind of like a junk drawer that is really hard to access. They're called Royal Craft Wood. You can get them from the Container Store, I believe, or Amazon. The only thing is that they kind of move around, but overall happy with them. This is our drawer where we keep all of our like spatulas and tongs, measuring cups, bottle openers, things like that. Down here, we've got our pots and pans. We've got Caraway. I know that there's a lot of stuff on the internet about them being horrible. I'm personally okay with them. They're not the best pans in the world, but they're definitely not the worst. This one, for some reason, is having an issue and having a hard time. But like, if you can see the other ones, they cleaned up pretty okay. So I typically do a little deep clean on these with some vinegar and baking soda and Dawn dish soap on occasion if I really want to like cut the grease. I'm gonna keep using them until I can't use them anymore, and then eventually get stainless steel. I think I just don't know how to properly cook with stainless steel. So that would be my next investment if I were to buy pans again. So I'm not out here telling you to buy them. I bought these with my own money. They were not gifted to me. I thought they were an enormous investment, and that's why I'm so hesitant to be like, okay, I'm not gonna use them anymore, because they're still working for me, but when they don't work, I will just do some good old stainless steel. And here's just a peek at what's inside of our deep drawers. I really love deep drawers for holding the big pots and the bowls. It just makes it so much easier than getting it in and out of a cabinet. And here we keep our colander, splash mat, and oh my gosh, we got an immersion blender. This is the Vitamix immersion blender. It is such a game changer. I am making soups, I'm making tikka masala, any type of sauce, whatever, like it's amazing. I don't have to take it out and put it in a food processor or a blender. Why didn't I buy this sooner? I really don't know. This has been amazing. It's my favorite thing right now. My favorite kitchen appliance, my favorite kitchen tool is this Vitamix immersion blender. So the last cabinet I will show you is our cup cabinet, because I wanted to mention that we have cups from Year and Day, and we also have some cups from Fable. So those are in here. It looks very empty because they're in the dishwasher. I need to run the dishwasher after this. And then we've got mason jars for storing liquids and whatnot, but also to drink out of. So I keep our Fable dishes down here because I don't want them to be used every day. I think they're so pretty. They look just like the mugs I showed you earlier. They're speckled. If I could have all my dishes look like this, I would, but they're very special, so I keep them under here for parties and snacks. And then we have a tofu press and some cooking oils. Not super exciting. The last area I want to talk about before we move on to the dining area is the sink. We've got a farmhouse sink. It's cast iron from Kohler, and so far it's held up very well. We do put a metal guard in the sink to make sure pots, pans, plates don't scratch the bottom. It's currently in the dishwasher. Our faucet is from Rejuvenation. I like how the golds match perfectly because it's all from the same brand. So if you are picky about having the golds or whatever hardware tones you have, if you want them to match, then I recommend getting them from the same brand. One thing I will say, if you have a farmhouse sink, sometimes water will like drip down here. And for a while, I didn't realize this, but the water was dripping onto the top of this door here, and it caused the cabinet to kind of bubble up a little bit. So now I'm more adamant about drying this underneath and making sure that the water doesn't drip. So if you have a farmhouse sink, just check that, so that way your cabinets will hold up for a long time. Let's talk about the dining area. I love our dining area because a couple years ago, I would never have picked black chairs. But one of the words that I was searching when I was looking for what our aesthetic would be and some interior design inspiration, I kept searching Japandi, and that's like Japanese, Scandinavian, minimal, like that is the vibe that I'm going for. And I really feel like with these chairs, we definitely accomplished that. I love how these chairs perfectly tie into the Korean cabinet. That really is the centerpiece of this kitchen for me. So the chairs are from Rejuvenation. The light fixture is from Rejuvenation, and the table is from West Elm. I found this table at the West Elm outlet. This color is called Cerussed White, and at the time they had discontinued it because I have it in a darker color and it comes unfinished. So we ended up sealing it ourselves. We got it from the outlet with the bench, got there 10 minutes before they closed and purchased it because they don't hold things for you. When we sealed the table, it did make it a little bit more yellow, and it brought out a lot more of the depth of the wood, but I love how it turned out. I think it looks really great in the space, and we were able to fit 10 people at this table during our family reunion, so it really came in handy and it all worked out. I mentioned before, but this cabinet is the centerpiece of our kitchen. It was the inspo behind the different colors that we went with. It was my grandmother's, my hanmoni, and she passed it down to my oma, and she passed it to me. So 3 generations of ladies, and hopefully I can pass it down to my future kid. I think it looks beautiful here. It feels very special. I'm not accessing the up here and the down here too much because I want to preserve it, but we do keep our placemats and our coaster here, so it does serve a function. I am planning to do a full home tour, but a theme that you'll notice probably is that I don't do a lot of decor for the sake of decor. Like, I like them to have a function or a purpose or be multi-purpose. It's how I cut back on clutter and just reduce the amount of stuff that's just in the house. This is our umbrella plant. This was a clipping from my dad's plant that is literally 30 years old. It moved from him from Texas to Kentucky and back to Texas because now we are neighbors. He gave us a clipping in case the actual mama plant died in the move. We wanted to have something, so we traveled with it in like a cup of water from Kentucky to Texas. We did a road trip and it has grown so much, although it's not doing too well over here. I think it needs a lot more water than I was giving it. So that is this guy. We still need to name it. I feel like I want to call him Henry. You heard it here first. His name is Henry. We have a lot of plants in this house. It's the way I like to add life and pops of color. When it comes to designing the space, I really like to feel like my home is a sanctuary and I want to feel calm in my space. Andrew too, I'm really grateful that I have a partner that's on the same page as me. We're drawn to a lot of the same types of style in architecture. He really loves Japandi, so do I. And so together we kind of collaborated on what we wanted the space to look and feel like. But then from there, I would create the mood board, pick out the specific pieces and where they would go and ask him if he's cool with that too. And then we would make the decisions together. But I really had so much fun designing this house. People always ask, who is your interior designer? And that is a big compliment because it's me. I designed it. I don't think I'd be a good interior designer for other people if they had a style other than this Japandi style. But I really do love picking out home decor and it's been fun. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me and touring my kitchen. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions that I didn't get to in this video, then leave them down in the comments. I'll have as much as I can linked in the description and our blog posts. And I'm looking forward to doing more home reveals, more tours of the house. I would love to do a full home tour, but there's a couple different areas that we're still working on and I wanna complete those before we do the whole thing. But yeah, let me know what room you'd like to see next. And if you haven't seen my home office tour, I'll also link that video, go watch that. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching this video. I will see you all in the next one. Bye.